Hello beautiful people, Stephanie here, and today we're taking a look at Fennigen tin whistles. Now Fennigen whistles are actually made in the highlands of Yunnan in China by Chinese whistle maker Liu Xiaolong. The company was founded by two musicians who have spent the last decade of their lives actually building and growing the Irish music community in China. I have three to show you today. They've come to me from bigwhistle.com, so I have put a link to that in the description down below. But if you're ready to get to know these whistles, let's take a look. Fennigen whistles come in a nice drawstring soft pouch. They have the logo and branding at the front, and of course Irish whistles on the front as well. If we open the actual little pouch, you'll see the whistles themselves come nicely wrapped in plastic wrap. This is just to preserve their initial finish and give them a little bit of extra padding, I suppose, as they're in transit. Now these are aluminium whistles, so they're very lightweight, and they have black plastic mouthpieces. This could be plastic or Delrin, I'm not 100% certain, but it does look fairly smooth and fairly strong. It's a nice shape, very nicely finished. They offer tunable and non-tunable versions, and they have the little Fennigen sticker at the front. Now these whistles are named after various birds, so the one I have here is the cyan bird, and this is the silver finish. They also offer various colours. You can see I have the lilac or purple here, and this is a tunable option. This one is called the puffin, also a high D whistle. I also have a very shiny red finished A whistle, and this one is tunable. This one's called the griffin, and it also has the Fennigen Chinese symbols written at the top here as well. The mouthpiece on this larger whistle is actually more similar to Alexander Caravave whistles, perhaps in shape, whereas on the higher whistle you have something more similar to Sasato whistles, or perhaps that Killarney shape, but without the separate fipple. So let's do a quick decibel test on each of these whistles, and we'll do a tuning test also. So from that first quick playthrough, you can see that all three of these whistles are actually very well tuned. The intonation on them makes them very easy to play in tune. You actually need a lot less breath pressure than I expected to hit the notes on perfect pitch, which means you've got a lot of space to play around with. You can warm these whistles up, especially if you have a tunable version. You could extend them quite considerably and probably still hit those notes by pushing harder. So it gives you space to use dynamics, which I really like. Volume is always a little bit more tricky to determine. You can see the decibel results for yourself. They are designed as session whistles. They're not the loudest whistles I've played. I think because they've got this nice soft, smooth sounding voice, they definitely do have that little bit of edge, so they probably would be heard pretty well amongst other musicians. But it's not an unpleasant tone when you get to that second octave, so it doesn't sound particularly loud to the ear. So let's give them a play and see how they hold a tune. Ironically, although the makers of these whistles have spent so long building the Irish music scene, I've chosen to play some Chinese music today because these whistles come from China. I thought that was kind of fun. Anyway, Chinese music also sounds beautiful on tin whistle. So let's give them a try. So I had actually planned to play 3 different tunes for you, but unfortunately the broken thumb is still getting in the way somewhat. But the tune I played was actually a really popular Chinese tune called Painted Heart. I actually like that these whistles seem to have their own voice and sound. The cyan bird, the silver non-tunable, is actually thinner. So the wall of this one is thinner, and the purple, the puffin, is actually a much wider material. So that will slightly affect the way the sound is perceived to you as a player. Also, the difference in mouthpiece for the lower whistle gives a completely different sound to the A, but I think that's really nice to have 2 whistles from the same brand that do have these distinct and unique voices. Something really special. Both have a very sweet sound, very pure, which actually is probably not as much of an Irish characteristic, but more so a Chinese characteristic, which I think is really nice. Half holes seem to be pretty easy, and the hole size on the puffin are the same as the cyan bird. All seem pretty good there as well, and the cross-fingered notes are actually pretty strong. Now my guess would be these are relatively high back pressure whistles. They don't require a lot of breath to play at all. They need a bit of push to hit the high notes, but not a lot of air. So these do suit my style of playing. And the same applies for both the high whistles and the slightly lower A whistle. They're not immensely high back pressure though, so you're not losing any volume with these. You still get that little bit of edge to cut through, without that added breathiness, I suppose, that you sometimes get with a lower back pressure whistle. I like the different colorways. I like the voice of these. I like that they're lightweight because it makes them really easy to play. I'm pretty impressed. Price points were up on screen while these whistles were being played. Obviously these do vary, and you've got to bear in mind exchange rates between the whistle makers and of course anybody selling them. I don't know if they're available elsewhere, but I do know they're available on Big Whistle. So if you'd like to find out more information or check to see their availability, you'll find a link in the description down below. If you have any questions on these, please do let me know in the comments. And if you've made it this far in the video, it would be a huge help to my channel if you could hit that big like button and of course subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, happy whistling, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.